If you pick Jaden Daniels in your fantasy football draft, you're probably patting yourself on the back right about now. Daniels has been a revelation for the Commanders, bringing hope not only to a long awaiting franchise, but to fantasy teams across the country. Today, we're going to discuss what has made Jaden Daniels so effective as a rookie in the overall QB2 through the first 3 weeks of the 2024 NFL season. One of the first things to note with Jaden Daniels has been his excellent poise in the pocket. Since his first snap of preseason football, Daniels has been unbelievably confident, not shying away from the tough throws and making a lot of it look easy. So, for this first play we're going to watch, you're going to find Luke McCaffrey on a crossing route here, the slot wide receiver. He's going to come across somewhere around the 20 up here, which is going to be where Daniels is going to release as he becomes open whenever the linebacker is out of position. So let's go ahead and let's watch this play, and then we're going to break it down right after. So one thing you'll notice during this play, right in the middle of that route, McCaffrey uses a bit of tempo, gets the linebacker a little bit out of position, helps Daniels have him open for the window right after. Now, we'll watch the second view of it, which is a little bit better for pocket presence. We're going to talk about how Daniels moves himself here to be able to have more time to complete this throw. So when you watch this again, watch that you're going to find the pressure coming from the left side here. Daniels is going to notice this really early in the play, and he's going to make a subtle move to the right to get himself out of position from the defender, just that little bit of extra time to throw, not get the ball swatted out of his hands, and then to complete this pass. So we'll watch this again here. This is your rusher. So he's going to notice him here. He's going to move to the right a little bit. He's going to release there. This is a big gain. This is about 30 plus yards for the Commanders. This sets them up in first and goal territory where they eventually are able to score on third and goal. So early score for the Commanders, big play, and definitely stuff that you want to see from your fantasy football quarterback. Now, after breaking down this first play, I want to talk about one of the biggest questions that surround the Commanders this offseason. That's going to be their ability and pass protection. Well, this has been considered a relatively weak unit until recently, perhaps. They began the season with a very strong 71.4 PFF pass blocking grade, ranking 10th among all offensive lines. So, to explain what I mean by this for a moment, usually with your PFF grades, your average is going to come around 60. That's where you start. To have performances that are around 70 is very good for an offensive line. And as you play more consistently good, your grade is going to get higher. So PFF values the consistency of an offensive line heavily, and the Commanders are, as of now, a top 10 unit. You also compare this to last season, where with Sam Howell, they had given up 19 sacks in the first 3 games of the season. This year, while it's not the best numbers, it is noticeably better as they have only given up 9 sacks in the first 3 games. So that's a massive improvement, especially when you consider that 2.96 seconds that Daniels is taking on average to throw the football. So while you may not be able to sing the same praises in the run game, which is definitely going to be more of an issue for Jaden Daniels, the NFL quarterback, not the fantasy quarterback, this is going to be an area where you feel pretty confident about Daniels this year compared to what was expected. Now we're going to transition for a moment to talking about Jaden Daniels as the rusher. Well, Daniels has done a nice job of being a balanced dual threat quarterback so far in the NFL. This is undoubtedly where you're going to find your fantasy football upside. One of the most intriguing numbers for players that were looking at draft Daniels was his absurd 1,250 rushing yards at LSU in 2023. After 3 games in the NFL, Daniels has amassed 171 rushing yards on the ground, second among all quarterbacks, and an impressive 3 rushing touchdowns to top it off. Daniels is a home run threat on any play, having the escapability that can flip the game script on its head, and has done a fine job of not coughing up the football too often since last season. On this play, you'll get a glimpse of that escapability and just how difficult he can be to bring down. So on this play, Daniels is going to reverse field, rolling out to the right as the offensive line redirects traffic to the left. So now, when we see this play develop, you're going to find one guy who's really in position here to make a play on him. 24 is going to be too far back. He's going to be looked to cover at this point. But 59, who is Akeem Davis Gaither for the Bengals, is going to be the guy who's tasked with stopping him on this play. So, for context, this is a 2nd and 3. Daniels does not have to convert this play. He has another down, but he is going to manage to do so regardless. So, we're going to show really impressive contact balance here along the sideline. You'd think he'd be out of bounds. He's not. He manages to turn this play from a 1-yard loss to what is ultimately about a 4-yard gain. And while this may not be the kind of play that would necessarily win you a fantasy matchup or have a huge impact, maybe it would, I guess, with it being Monday Night Football, Daniels is able to make these plays consistently enough and create something out of nothing that he is going to be able to pile this up. It's going to make an impact, and it's going to add up enough at the end of the day. So this is something you'll love to see from Daniels, and he's done a really good job of balancing himself between, making the reckless decisions that may cause turnovers and still having that creatability on the ground. For our next play, you're going to see a decisive strike from Jaden Daniels to Noah Brown that results in a 15-yard completion, putting the Commanders in field goal range. So this is going to be a simple post route. So what Noah Brown is going to do, he's going to run about 7-8 yards upfield, and he's going to cut inside right here. There's going to be an opening for Daniels to make this throw. And this is ultimately going to be the first and last read that Daniels is going to make on this play. The moment he puts his eyes up, he looks into the coverage, he's going to notice he's open, and he's going to fire this for a first down completion. So let's go ahead and let's watch this play real quick. So right off the snap, watch Daniels' eyes here. Looks over, immediately out, and he's got a completion to put them into field goal range here. So really nice play from Daniels, but the main thing I want to note here is the sound decision making that Daniels has put up so far, and really just being an excellent processor. We talk about his accuracy throughout the season, looking at about 80% through 3 games, and that is not an adjusted accuracy rate as well. But what I want to note, talking about how he's so accurate, is the throwing motion of Daniels and how fast his release is and how compact it is. This may not seem like something that is super important, but when you're scouting players coming from the college level, the NFL, or wherever it may be, or for fantasy football as we're doing here, this is extremely important because what it does when you have a fast, compact throwing motion is it's going to eliminate inaccuracies, and it's going to get rid of what can be sometimes bad habits. So you're going to see it benefit players like that. It's also going to give you a little bit of that extra time if you need a play to develop. So that extra tick, right? We talked about the first play that we watched from this game where Daniels is going to shift to the right, but he's also going to throw it quick. He's going to get the ball out because of that, and it's a 30-yard completion. So I want you to just watch here on this play just how quick the throwing motion is from Daniels, how quick his eyes go up here. This is really impressive stuff from him. Just fast throw, gets it in the coverage, he knows he's open, he's able to deliver quick. So those processing skills and the tools to get out the ball, extremely important for him at this point. And we saw it with this impressive 91.3% completion rate throughout this game. 21 of 23. This is phenomenal stuff to work with. It may not be super fantasy relevant, what a completion rate is, but it says a lot about how accurate the player is and how he's going to avoid, hopefully, having a lot of turnovers in the future. He still has 0 interceptions on the year. It's a strong start for him, and this is just stuff that you want to see from him as far as accuracy, and really is just not rivaled by any other quarterbacks from this class at this point. One of Daniels' biggest strengths is that he can tilt a fantasy football matchup in your favor with his deep passing. In Daniels' final year at LSU, he was credited with 55 attempts of more than 20-plus yards that resulted in 35 completions, 1,347 yards, 22 touchdowns, and get this part, 0 interceptions. In all of those attempts, Daniels recorded a single turnover-worthy play, and with the Commanders so far in 2024, he has yet to record 1 turnover-worthy play when passing deep. And against Cincinnati, Daniels gave us a glimpse of what's to come on a beautiful 55-yard pass to Terry McLaurin that could not have been placed any better. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to draw the route here. Won't be able to draw it completely just because it was a 55-yard route or so. But McLaurin is lined up at the bottom of your screen here. He's going to start by attacking the outside shoulder of Cam Taylor-Britt. He's going to threaten him that way, and he's going to make a subtle cut inside. So you're going to see something like this where he starts to kind of fade towards the sideline, and then he's going to come inside. And so he's going to get vertical here, and that's going to be where Daniels notices that he has won this route, and he's going to fire the ball deep downfield to him. So we'll go ahead and we'll show this play for you guys from McLaurin and Daniels. So you're going to see what separates him down here is the athleticism, the subtleness, and the tempo. Daniels is going to release this right as he sees him cut inside, and it's going to be a huge completion that ends up setting the Commanders up in really good field position deep in the red zone. Well, there haven't been too many deep throws this year. This is really just a sign of what's to come with Daniels. Talking about his time in college, like we said, he had a lot of completions downfield, a lot of attempts downfield that were not just your simple dump-off plays, your simple short throws. He was dotting them up deep down the field. And Daniels, well, he has not thrown at the same rate as he did in college so far, which the comparison was 16.6% at LSU of his attempts and 9.2% so far with the Commanders. It's hard for me to imagine that this does not become more common for him because this is where a huge strength of his game is. And this is something that is going to break games open for the Commanders. It's going to set the tone in games, and it's going to lead to probably some big wins for them, just like it did on Monday Night Football. While this play may not appear all that special, it's a testament to the opportunities that Daniels is going to have scoring on the ground this season. He's going to be a lethal component in the RPO game for Washington, and he has the athleticism to easily score when the chance is there and to stress out a defense in these goal-to-go situations. On this play, we're going to find that Daniels has an RPO option here. So he can either hand it off to Brian Robinson Jr. up the gut, or he can take it himself and try to score. And so the guy you're going to watch really closely on this play is going to be Joseph Osai. He's going to be the one who's reading this play, who's either going to come in on the running back or he's going to come in on the quarterback. And ultimately, Osai doesn't really make the best decision, goes in on the running back while Daniels has it, and you'll see that he scores here. So hesitation, goes in on the RB. It's a Daniels touchdown, right? And this isn't showing this play to say this is just some incredible play by Daniels, right? The point of bringing this up is that I want to talk about the presence that he is going to have for the Commanders in scoring touchdowns on the ground, right? And so it's just really the threat that he poses as a player. We look at stats from this year. You know, obviously, you're going to have all the passing touchdowns. He's the quarterback. There's no conversation there. But on the ground, he's eating heavily into the rushing touchdowns that Washington's putting up. Out of the 6 touchdowns that Washington has on the ground this season, Daniels has scored 3 of them. So he's taking half of the rushing touchdowns and he's taking all the passing touchdowns. And what this does for you, if you have him in fantasy football, is when you get to the red zone and you're concerned about whether you're going to get the touchdown points for your player, you're not going to have to worry about that much with Daniels because the chances that he's not involved on the play are pretty slim, right? There's been 3 plays so far on offense this season in 3 games that he was not one of the scorers on, whether passing or rushing. And this isn't really even mentioning the upside of obviously rushing touchdowns over passing touchdowns. If you're in a format where you're going to get 6 points on the ground versus 4 through the air, this is going to be extremely important. This is why we draft these kinds of quarterbacks early. But Daniels does a phenomenal job, obviously, as we've talked about, pairing together the dual threat ability, right? Through the air and on the ground. And you're going to see a lot of plays like this in the red zone where Daniels is going to get you those easy 6 points and really going to rack up the score for you. Now, we're going to end on a play here that tells you really everything you need to know about the confidence and reliability of Jaden Daniels for your fantasy football team. And there's just no way that I could record this video without ending on this play. If you watch Monday Night Football, you know what I'm talking about. But with the game on the line here, Washington Commanders are up by less than a touchdown. They're trying to drive down the field, trying to score. Daniels is trying to put the final nail in the coffin. In this situation, you're going to see him looking for his guy in Terry McLaurin, the obvious number one receiver on the Commanders, even if it didn't look like that the first few weeks. And you're going to see a great route here from McLaurin, where he is going to start by getting upfield. You're going to see a little bit of hesitation here, where he's going to use tempo, and he's going to break to the outside shoulder of the cornerback and get it open in the corner of the end zone here. And so Daniels is in a situation here that I think says a lot about who he is as a player. So I want you to, instead of focusing on the route here and on Terry McLaurin, I want you to watch Jaden Daniels, because in his third career start with the game on the line, a 3rd and 7 for the Commanders, he's going to get faced with a free rusher off the edge. There's going to be a player that goes unblocked here, and Daniels is going to make a phenomenal play to put the Commanders in the win column for this game. So just go ahead and watch this beautiful play. So you got a free rusher here at 27, launches the ball downfield, perfect throw, and it's a touchdown for the Commanders. Huge play. We'll watch it again from this angle. You're going to have the guy screaming off the edge, stands in the face of it, sets his feet, hits the throw down the field. I have to ask you, how many rookie quarterbacks do we see that from? It's not a whole lot. That's a short list of players that have that kind of confidence. And this might be arguably the best throw of the year so far. Daniels just sets his feet. He throws a perfect pass. He gets it to McLaurin in stride, able to get him in bounds, not out of bounds. Just a phenomenal play, and this is a win for the Commanders. That's another probably 5 points for your fantasy football team, and another great performance for Jaden Daniels, and part of the reason why he is the QB2 right now on the season. To see this kind of stuff, once again, from a rookie quarterback is absolutely unreal. When I had originally scouted Daniels, because I do a little bit of that in my time, I was worried about some of the recklessness that he had. You know, I saw the play that he had at LSU where he got stood up trying to rush, didn't see a guy coming, and just gets laid out, right? And you see some of these plays and you get concerned about him maybe coming from college. But that is not the quarterback that he's been. And those were not huge concerns either. This is a great quarterback prospect that has already taken care of a lot of the big issues that he had. He has the arm, he has the legs, he has the intelligence, and most importantly, for a lot of these young players, they're thrown straight into action. He has the confidence to dominate in the NFL. And right now, it's just us seeing the breakout. So while he has absolutely stepped up in the big moments, I also want to note for you guys, this is a player who has also made sure in the moments where maybe something's not there, he's taking what he can, right? He is not a player that I see imploding in games. I don't think he's going to be someone that you're going to be worried about every week or every other week getting 8 points, 9 points, 6 points, whatever it might be. Daniels takes what's there, and it's a lot because he can see what's there, and he's going to consistently produce for your fantasy football team because of that. Right now, I would argue that Daniels is a borderline elite QB1 already, and he is going to improve as time goes on, especially to note for you dynasty managers. This player is going to get better as time goes on. Washington is going to continue to surround him. They're going to continue to add to this offense, and they are going to get better. They have better leadership now. They have a good GM there. Things are going to consistently improve for Daniels, and this is the time that if you're going to buy in on him, even if it's a keeper league, whatever it may be, this is the time to get in on Jaden Daniels. And if I don't have him in my league, I'm floating trade offers for him. I've already sent probably 5 or 6 to one guy in my sleeper league. He probably hates me because of it, but too bad. But with that all said, I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have a lot of videos coming out each week during the season, so you're going to want to watch that for your fantasy football teams. So appreciate y'all being here, and we'll see you in the next one.